Welcome to Beyond the Surface, the podcast. From the ancient practice to its modern day symbolism, we dive beyond tattooing and its connection to our inner selves. I'm your host, Caroline. Welcome. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're having a very amazing December month. This episode is sponsored by Work in University, where you embark on a transformative journey, getting to know a lot about yourself in a holistic way through working with stress and emotional management and trauma resolution and so much more. So thank you so much, Work in University, for sponsoring this episode. So today we're going to talk about the connection between tattoos and healing. So whether you're at work, whether you're out and about, just relax, get a cup of coffee, hot cocoa, or some tea, whatever you feel like in this moment, and let's go beyond the surface together. So as we've discovered through the other episodes, getting a tattoo is really a profound way of exploring, your own personality and really remembering some memories that you may want to hold on to, or the reverse, some things that you want to let go of. So tattoos throughout history have been just far more than just ink on the skin. They have served as instruments of healing, both physical and emotional healing. And to truly appreciate the healing power of tattoos, we must first really acknowledge the historical context. And I do this in almost every episode. I take a look back and kind of see what did they do in the olden days, like, the Egyptian beliefs and just really far back. So many ancient civilizations, including the Egyptians and Greeks and indigenous tribes, practiced the tattooing for various healing purposes. And in these cultures, as we've mentioned in previous episodes, they weren't just adornments of the body. They were there to heal the person and celebrate their life and connecting them with the gods. And they really held a deep therapeutic significance. And some places, like with the Ötzi Iceman, we talked about in a few episodes back, scientists believe that the tattoos that he had weren't just for adorning his body, but were there to treat ailments and protect against diseases and also promote spiritual healing. Although many people don't do that anymore, in these modern times, the healing potential of tattoos is being rediscovered, which I think is really amazing. And I think that's something to celebrate, that we're getting back to the roots of everything. So let's start with the emotional and physiological healing that I at least think that tattoos can facilitate. Because tattoos often serve as a form of self-expression, so it allows you to really create the energy that you want to represent, and it allows you to convey your emotions and experiences and struggles through art on your body, so you get to carry it around. What I really don't like is when people say, oh, why did you get a tattoo of that? If it's such an important date, why can't you remember it? But getting it on your skin just really eternalizes it, and it just gives it so much more meaning. Just like I like to read books, like physical books. I don't like reading on a Kindle, just because I like turning the pages. I love creating the what do you call them, donkey ears on the corners, and I like to create lines where I want to just having it physically in your hand makes such a big difference, and it can serve as a reminder. Like I've said in previous episodes, I like to have my tattoos as active tattoos, so I like to use them while I'm doing yoga, or when I'm meditating, or when I'm reminding myself of stuff. So getting a tattoo, the process of choosing a design and discussing its meaning with a tattoo artist, and then permanently getting it onto the skin can be just so meaningful. And I think that the process of it getting done is just as important as the final result itself, because when you look at a tattoo, you're not just going to remember how it looks, you're also going to remember how it felt getting it done. Like, was your artist nice to you? Did they respect your boundaries? Did they take care of you? Did they make sure that you were comfortable during the whole process? And if they didn't, I will assure you, you will remember that as well. So getting a tattoo on your physical body provides a tangible and visible representation of your journey, and it can give you some closure if it's a new cycle that you're starting. Also, if I'm getting a tattoo that I'm not using actively, I will still get it as a representation of a new chapter or a chapter closing. And it just helps me. When I look at it, I can tell, oh, I was in this mindset when I got it done, or I had this view of the world at that time. And it's just really fun to see where life brings you and the places you get them. Like, I often get my tattoos when I'm out traveling, and they remind me of that specific place, maybe a specific memory from that place, or again, just a reminder to how I felt at that time in my life. Getting it visibly on your body, it represents your journey, and because you can think back to how you felt at the time you got it done, not specifically, the moment you got it done, but that time of your life where you got it done, it can really give you some healing. It can bring closure to something that you've been thinking about a lot, or it can heal you in the sense that it gives you power to the journey that you're about to embark. Another way that a tattoo can heal you is if you've experienced trauma or loss. Many survivors of trauma such as abuse or illness, they choose a specific design as a way to reclaim their bodies and just assert their strength and resilience. And if you've ever seen the semicolon with like the two, it's kind of like a smiley facing both ways, and it represents, the hardships and the ups in life, so like the ups and downs. And I would love to make an episode on different tattoos and their meanings if you'd like me to. I think that would be amazing, because sometimes people get something done without really knowing what it means. You can still get it done, if it means something specifically to you, but it might not be nice, let's say, to have an ornament. Where in Denmark we have this weekly break cancer week, I think, or is it a month? I can't remember. And that specific flower represents that. So most of the time, people who've struggled with cancer or who have overcome it, they will get that one. So it might not be nice for you to have the same one if it doesn't represent that, because, people are probably going to ask you if you beat cancer. So getting something to reclaim your body if you've gone through something very traumatic and reminding you of the resilience that you have is just amazing. Now, in terms of grief and loss, it can also be a very beautiful way of honoring the person that you've loved and that you want to think back to, or just honor them, honor their lives. And it can provide a constant source of comfort and connection. And in some cultures, they even think that getting a tattoo in the honor of a deceased one can help you connect with their spirit and will kind of anchor them in the tattoo. I really want to do an episode on people getting a tattoo with the ashes of a deceased one. It's a bit controversial, but I see so many people getting these around the world, and although it is crazy, I think it is a very beautiful way of connecting with the spirit of the deceased, and it will anchor the spirit of the deceased one in your body. So of course you have to remember the energetic bond that's going to be created between you and their spirit, but if you are open to connecting with them and always having them around and possibly seeing them either physically or in your dreams, you know, you'll be okay, but you have to be prepared for that. And of course, that can also happen if you think of them often, and if you want to call them out through, some people use Ouija boards, the Esther method, but that's a whole nother section. But there are many ways that you can connect with a loved one, and one of them is through tattoos. And doing it with the ashes too, you can feel free to do that. I don't think there's a law against it, but yeah. Getting a tattoo can also be healing for those with mental health issues such as anxiety or depression or just self-esteem challenges. So the act of getting a tattoo here can be very grounding and very empowering experience. So you can maybe feel like you've regained a sense of control over your body and emotions, and just the actual part of getting the tattoo, you know, the pain of the tattooing process can serve as a distraction, and it can redirect the focus away from the emotional pain and more put it towards the physical sensation. Getting a tattoo, if you have something that you're struggling with, can also be a reminder for just what you're going through, and reminding yourself of your resilience and your strength, and remind you, even when it's over, if it is going to be over, it can remind you of just how freaking strong and powerful you are. Okay, so the next one I think is really exciting, because this is an art form that I've only just recently discovered a few months ago, but it's about the physical healing, let's say after a birth and you have stretch marks, or you've lost a lot of weight, or anything else. So in the medical field, there's something that's called medical micropigmentation, and this is used in the medical field, of course, and it can provide some therapeutic purposes. But these micropigmentation procedures are used to camouflage scars, so stretch marks or any other scars that you might have on your body. Let's say you've had breast cancer, or you've just had your breasts removed and you have lost your nipples, you can still get them tattooed. And I've seen some pretty amazing artists that can make it look insane, like almost like it's real. Of course, when you touch it, the surface is going to be flat, but the look of it is insane. And you can also get them if you have like skin conditions, you can get them tattooed over. If you are thinking about getting it done though, I would recommend you going to an actual medical tattoo artist. Don't just go to someone on the street. I don't think they will know what exactly to do. So look it up and make sure that you're choosing the right artist, because especially this one has some very healing properties. Like if you've gone through cancer and you've had a mastectomy, wow, I can only imagine how powerful that feeling is, and how crucial it is to maybe your self-confidence and just the emotional healing of the trauma that you've gone through. There are so many ways that tattoos can heal, either physical things, you know, stretch marks, but also mental health pain that you might have. And I think, just my advice, if you're gonna get something that is gonna, you know, help you on your journey to feeling better within yourself, try go back to a recent episode that I did, which is episode 8, the last one, and it's about how to prepare yourself for a tattoo session. And for this one, what I recommend is preparing yourself from the moment you have the thought of getting it, and preparing your body for it. So knowing the placement, knowing what it means, and knowing the symbolism behind. And then, of course, choosing an artist that will honor that space and will take the time and guide you through the process of getting your tattoo. Because sometimes if you get one and the artist is rushing through it, or they don't know how to hold you through your pain, let's say you are covering up some scars, either from birth or if they're self-inflicted. It can be a lot if you start crying and your artist doesn't know what to do. So find an artist that makes you feel safe, makes you feel comfortable, and holds the space for you while you're getting it. Because if you are getting it to, again, as I said, heal maybe your mental load, or remind yourself of a hardship or some tough stuff that you've gone through, whether it's something in your mind or if it's a physical trauma that you've been through, regardless of what tattoo you're getting, I would say it's important to find an artist that holds the space, because I've experienced people saying, oh, it's just a simple one, and then yet their body is still reacting. So it could be through crying or, just shaking. Anything can happen when you essentially inflict trauma to the body, which you are when you're getting a tattoo. For me, I would say every single tattoo is healing if you just let it be a way of self-healing. And when I say healing, I don't mean, oh my God, I met God. It's just about honoring your journey and taking care of yourself and reminding yourself of how insanely strong you are and how incredibly fierce and resilient you are. Getting a tattoo can help you remind yourself of that, regardless of it, being whatever trauma that you've gone through. So make sure to know what you're getting done. Make sure to find an artist that you like, and check out the last episode of how you can prepare yourself for a tattoo, especially if you want it to be a more spiritual experience. I hope this helped you a bit to remind yourself of how you can get a tattoo that's gonna help you in your healing journey, because it's always a journey. It's not definite, sadly. But it can help you on the course of feeling better and taking better care of yourself. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being here and listening today. I think as we can conclude, tattoos have the power to heal wounds, both seen and unseen, and they can mend broken spirits and empower every single individual to overcome basically everything and anything they've gone through. So thank you so much for recognizing the transformative power of ink and just the ability of it to promote both physical and mental well-being. Hope you have an amazing week. I thank you so much for being here, and hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And every single episode is going to be launched every Tuesday at about 6 a.m. So if you want to listen in on your way to work or as you wake up, I would love to be a part of your morning routine. That would be amazing. But thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much to Workin University for sponsoring this episode. Check them out at workin.university and see what you can get of just amazing content and hopefully some tips to live a better life and get to know yourself a bit better. But if you like this episode, give it a follow. You can join us on Instagram at Beyond the Surface, the podcast. And if you want to book in a session with me, it's just Miss Carly Tattoos on Instagram and every other platform. You can also send me an email at misscarlytattoos@gmail.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But like this episode, feel free to share it with your friends. It would mean the world to me. The podcast is on every single platform, so they will be able to listen in wherever they want to. Thank you so much, and Merry Christmas.